It feels like my torture is never ending. I cannot. My mother is probably watching this already, ready to beat my ass. Thank you, God, for this book. Can't stand her. She's super freaking annoying. You sit down before I chop your head off. It's just not realistic. And like, we gotta talk about the blood magic scene. So where do I begin? I can't do an update without finding something to bitch about. Why is he still alive? Okay, let's do an unboxing. I love elemental magic so much. So he basically made the devil his bitch. I'm gonna start playing a drinking game where I take a shot every time Zane's name gets screamed. Oh, this is why I'm single. This book get on my damn nerves.
I know that makes me a sick person, but I really like that.
It's time for Black Girl Magic.
That black girl magic. That black girl magic. That black girl magic. That black girl magic.
You're giving me
Today also I just got back from the vintage shop. I had to kind of switch up my look because I just didn't like the way, I didn't feel right in that look, you know what I'm saying? So went to the vintage store and completely and utterly enamored. Because of who I am as a person, I spent too much money and I purchased another really fantastic vintage fashion haul. So I'm going to film my haul and then post that on my second channel, Jesse's Vintage Journey. So if you are a fan of vintage fashion, decor, furniture, etc., definitely subscribe to that channel. But I wanted to be more articulate about my feelings on Raybearer because I know I just babbled incoherently about how much this book means to me. I'm feeling incredibly blessed because Raybearer was sent to me by a subscriber. Thank you so freaking much, Kim, for sending this book to me. And the publisher reached out to me and asked if I wanted a finished copy. So I'm definitely going to be passing along this copy to somebody else and just paying it forward. And I'll definitely reread the finished version. I'm so excited for it to arrive. But I figured I would give you a reading update on this and Children of Blood and Bone and also do some unboxings. I have a lot of things to unbox and I always try and save my unboxings for my vlog so that y'all get a sneak peek of everything, all of the new stuff that I am getting, and a sneak peek of books that you're going to see me review in the future and potentially post on my Bookstagram, BowtiesandBooks. So without further ado, let's talk about Raybearer. I'm just under halfway through and I took off work tonight so that I can finish this book because it's just got to happen. So basically the story is we have a young girl named Teresa. I believe we start following her at the age of 11 and she has been raised in isolation in this incredible palace for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to be sent to the great kingdom of Aritsar in order to compete with the kingdom's best, brightest, most talented children for a place on the royal prince's final council of 11. And if she is successfully granted access to his council, her mother has charged her with the awful task of gaining the prince's trust and love, and once he loves her, killing him. As I said, the prince chooses the best and brightest kids from all over the world to serve beside him on the council. Out of all of these kids, he asks only 11 of them to serve on his final council, and those that he accepts are granted with what's called the Ray. And the Ray is this form of communication. It's kind of like soul bonding where you can speak to one another through this incredible connection. You can read each other's thoughts, you can share images. It's just like the ultimate form of closeness, and each person on the council is raised to have a specific and particular skill. That skill gets taught to them by the preceding council member, and so it's been really exciting watching these kids grow up and see what places that they are granted on the council. And once you are indoctrinated with the Ray, you serve on the council beside the prince for life. You're not allowed to take any other spouses or partners. You basically just become one soul, one entity, and you rule the kingdom together. As a concept, I find that so utterly fascinating because I love the concept of bonding magic, or rather binding magic. So I was concerned going into this book that it would get really tropey and predictive, like, okay, of course, the main character is gonna fall in love with the prince, and it's just going to be this love story that we've heard 1,000 times already, and it's absolutely not by far. I cannot stress that enough. As far as the Black girl representation goes, there is absolutely gorgeous descriptions of Black fashion, skin, hair, and beauty. I absolutely am loving the descriptions and the writing in general in the book. I love that there are several characters that are coded from the Asian diaspora. The kingdoms are so well established and built up. They each have their own mythos and background. And then on top of that, there are 4 religious sects, and the sects kind of are based on a different form of elemental magic, which is just, I love elemental magic so much. It's just so elaborate, and as you go on, it gets more and more intricate and elaborate, which is just exactly what I want because it's not info dumpy. There are definitely times where there is telling instead of showing, but it's balanced with showing so much, and the information that you are told is so critical and elucidating that I honestly don't mind. And also a big part of the reason why the telling doesn't bother me is because the
world is so freaking cool.
It is so cool and so fascinating. Like, for example, I just found out, like, there was a scene where the girls on the council are getting their hair braided by these braiders who are doing their hair up in really intricate yarn braids. Girls are having this conversation among themselves, and the braiders have their ears magically sealed with wax so that they can't overhear what the girls are discussing because they are privileged council members. And it's just little things like that, little touches of magic and world building here and there that I find very, very comforting. And I don't want to go too much into detail about the world building and all the awesome intricacies of the magic and the politics and the way that the world works, because I want you to just discover all of that for yourself like I am. But it's just really creative and fantastic. There's also Jinn and fairies,
which just so freaking exciting. And
so far the themes of the book that I'm really, really loving. The first one is we have this very, very large, kind of scary, traditional masculine male character who has just a heart of gold, and people are kind of forcing him to be a fighter and to be a warrior, and he doesn't want that at all. He wants to heal, and the world keeps pushing him towards violence, and I feel like it's such a fantastic commentary on Black masculinity and how Black boys are just not allowed to be sensitive. Boys in general are not allowed to have feelings and to want to be healers and nurturers, especially if they are born with very, very kind of large imposing figures. People expect them to be a certain way and to behave a certain way, in a way that's usually violent and toxic. And so I just love that commentary here. There's also commentary where one of the girls is talking about how, she comes from a really poor realm, and now she has gone to this palace and she has all of this knowledge, and she's opened her eyes to the way that the world really works. And she has nightmares that her mother wouldn't accept her anymore, her mother from a small and traditional village, because she's kind of outgrown the values of her village. And I think that that is a really important theme, especially within Afro cultures, where a lot of us who are the children of immigrants or the children of parents who just didn't have access to higher education kind of end up getting a higher position in society because we have a certain level of education and class privilege that our parents didn't have. But that elevated position then causes us to have a rift between ourselves and our parents. We then have different values. And it's very isolating and separating and very frustrating to have those divides within your family, and to have to choose between your family and your culture as a person of color, as a Black person, with your newfound values. It's just really intense. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think that it's a struggle that a lot of poor kids, immigrant kids, Black kids, children of color can definitely relate to. There's also some specific phobia and phobia anxiety. There's a situation that happens with the main character, and now she has a very specific phobia, and so I'm enjoying seeing how that is handled and how she's overcoming it and working with it, as well as really intense buttoning. I mean, it started very subtle, and then it's kind of just steamrolling and becoming a bigger part of the book slowly, which I really appreciate, is the theme of girls, especially lower class girls, especially Black girls, being expected to breed themselves into greatness. Girls are not allowed to have greatness, but girls can give birth to greatness, kind of thing. And the main character is experiencing this where people are kind of pressuring her to have the prince's son, and she's like, but I'm great in and of myself. I'm valuable because of who I am as a person, not because of the parts that I carry. And I just love that commentary. As you can see, I'm obsessed with this book. I'm definitely gonna finish it tonight. I'm gonna breeze through it. I'm so fucking excited. And this quote is a whole mood. On page 10, the very first line is, "The world outside was chanting my name, but all I wanted was a nap."
girl, same.
There's another quote that I love. "What happens in the shadows always comes to light." Just little nuggets of wonder in this book. I love it so much. And then I did start Children of Blood and Bone, and I had a lot of trepidation going into this book because readers that I just really, really agree with in general didn't like this book. Starla of Starla Reads primarily. When I first read this book, I didn't read it last year. I started the first chapter, and I just didn't really like the writing. But this time around, I don't know what it is, but I'm loving it, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I like that we have 3 different character perspectives, and their voices feel very established. You can tell who is speaking without even having to look at the chapter heading that tells you who is speaking, and I really love that. I like that Zaylee isn't a perfect character. Her impulsivity really does drive me nuts, but there's that scene really early on in the book where she gets pissed off and she thinks that she's about to die, and she goes,
"No, I'm not about to die by myself."
And she takes Amari's hand and drags her into the flames with her. And I know that a lot of people probably felt rubbed the wrong way by that scene, but I liked it because a lot of times YA fantasies lack that cutthroat that I want and I'm looking for. They lack that pure selfishness because we want our characters to be relatable, right? But good people do horrible things. And so I liked that Zaylee, in a moment of fear and anger, and especially the hostility that she feels towards Amari for the sheltered life that Amari has been allowed to lead, caused her not to even feel guilty about forcing Amari into a position of mortal danger.
I know that makes me a sick person, but I really like that.
And as far as Amari goes, what I really like about her character is that you can see her unlearning her internalized prejudice. There's a scene where she goes up to a lower caste man, and she goes, goes, do you have a name? And he's like,
Of course I have a fucking name.
like, what the hell's wrong with you? He had to apologize and realize that if he had a higher cast, she wouldn't have possibly asked him if he had a name. She would have just asked what that name was. Just little things, because again, I hate when we have privileged characters who are then exposed to underprivileged characters and they just magically are free from any kind of lingering internalized oppressive attitudes. Like they're taught that racism and prejudice is bad, and then magically they're just not racist anymore. And it takes a lot more than that. It takes years. Like there are still internalized prejudices that I have that I'm still working on every day of my life, and I've been actively doing anti-racist and anti-prejudice work for years. So I don't know, I really appreciate that. So far my favorite character is Inan, just because he's really fascinating, and I got to the point in the book where, you know, he gets that streak. I think for Children of Blood and Bone, I am gonna talk pretty openly about the book. I'm not gonna go into anything like super spoily, but because this book has been out for a long time, and I know those of you who are watching this vlog are primarily looking for my opinions on Children of Blood and Bone, this is gonna be somewhat spoilery, but when I get to Children of Virtue and Vengeance, because that just came out, I'm not going to do any kind of spoilery things. But I'm liking seeing how magic is developing. I'm enjoying the world. There are some issues of convenience where I'm like, oh, how convenient that this thing appeared right when you needed, or you met this person right when you were looking for them. But overall, I'm just enjoying the story. I was talking to Starla about this, and I think reading this book kind of for what it is, I can recognize some of the issues that I have with the writing, but this book would have meant the freaking world to me if I was 13 years old. Like, this is exactly the kind of book that I thirsted for growing up, and I wish I had read this back then, but right now I'm enjoying that I have access to it now. And I think a big part of my enjoyment for the book is the fact that I'm feeding my childhood self. Like, I'm getting my fix of Black fantastical worlds and characters. And I think that that's a part of myself that's always going to feel a little bit starved. God, and I have to say, as far as Black girl representation and how, you know, positive representation of skin, I just loved this paragraph. I watch as my sister deity moves with the grace of a hurricane, depicted in all her might and brilliance. The obsidian beauty kneels before her mother, red robes flowing like the wind. The sight takes my breath away. Her stance holds a power, a storm brewing beneath her black skin. I will love this book for that paragraph alone. I'm definitely enjoying and loving the Black skin and Black beauty representation, and I like that the book very aggressively talks about colorism within the Black community, especially within families, and how sometimes it's our family members that are pressuring us to lighten our skin and making derogatory comments about our hair. You know, a lot of that self-hate starts at home, unfortunately. So I'm just enjoying that representation, that commentary, even if it is frustrating for me to read because it brings up a lot of memories and anger. Do you have anything else to say about this before I do an unboxing? Looking at my notes in the back of the books. Oh, I will definitely say that the stocks in this book are 100% commentary on the prison industrial complex. Definitely commentary on the way that we sentence people to prison, specifically Black bodies, and make it damn near impossible for them to claw their way out of prisons. And if they do, they are then labeled with a lifetime of stigma and further subjugation. So I think that the commentary on the stocks is also very, very heavy hitting and important, and I'm enjoying seeing that. There's also themes about language erasure and what acculturation does to a people that I appreciated. And I think part of what is allowing me to enjoy the story is that the writing is really straightforward. It's simple without being simplistic, and it's really fast-paced, so it's easy to fly through. I think if the writing kind of wasn't as fast-paced as it was, this book wouldn't be so enjoyable to me. I'm only on page 222 out of like 500, so we will see. We'll keep going, and I'll let you know my thoughts. Okay, let's do an unboxing. I have this amazing package from Raggedy Tiff, who is a Mexican fashion designer over on Instagram. I'm so proud of her. I've been following her for a while, and this is my first official haul from her. I've already ordered more stuff from her, and she just got a storefront. She's been working out of her home for the last 10 years in her daughter's bedroom, and I'm just so proud of her. The first thing that I see is this card that says, "Gracias for your support. May you wear your Raggedy Tiff unique piece loud and proud." And I most definitely will. I love this. This is a little postcard that says, "Be you, mija." And then a really gorgeous sticker. Yo, I fucking love this. Look at the holograph. She included this just out of the kindness of her heart. On the back it says sticker for you. I did not order this. Yo, this is gorgeous. I mean, bruh, like you see why I've ordered from her already. Like it's abundantly clear. This is a little package. It's got cacti on it and it says it's marked earring and necklace. I already forgot what I ordered from her because it's been a little bit. I've been sitting on this package for a while because I wanted to unbox it for y'all in this video. So I don't remember what this is. Oh, yes. Yes. It comes with a really thick chain. This is a corazon necklace. Yo. Hold on, somebody just knocked on my door. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I'm wondering if I ordered matching earrings because I'm not sure. Hold on. Wait. Oh God. Oh, I did order matching earrings. Okay, so actually I'm just gonna put this on so you can see. So the only thing I don't like about these earrings is that they kind of do rotate a little bit, but it's really not the end of the world. Yeah, y'all have to comment down below and let me know what you think of this. This is a headband that went out of stock a little bit ago on her page, and I've been stalking her page waiting for it to restock because it's gorgeous. It has this really beautiful black and white geometric pattern, and essentially what you do, I mean, you can tie it any way that you want. It would be helpful if my hair was cooperating. But I would probably tie it a little bit like this. Yo, this is so cute. Ah, basta. I'm dying. This would be so much easier to do in an actual mirror. And if I wasn't already wearing a headscarf. Oh my God, it's gorgeous.
Okay, you know what? Fuck it.
It's gonna be what it is. I will do a lookbook for you later, maybe on my vintage fashion channel if you're interested. Comment down below if you want me to do a lookbook. I love with my whole heart and soul. Stop. I have some cards and stickers. I wanted the stickers mainly for my bullet journal. This is a card that I ordered for one of my friends over on Instagram, Lupita Reads, because Lupita did a whole lot of educating that she shouldn't have had to do when the whole American Dirt bullshit came out. And because of that, and because I know how hard that is on the soul, the labor that it is to have to bring up your trauma to help other people understand that racism is bad, is really difficult for the person who has to do that work, right? So some of the stuff that I ordered here, I ordered as a care package for her and I'm gonna send to her. So this is one of the things that I'm gonna be putting in her care package. And then I got some stickers from Tiff's Arriba Las Mujeres line. I don't even wanna open them. Look at the packaging, they're so cute. I think this might be the shirt that I got for Lupita, or maybe this one is for me. It says Arriba Las Mujeres, it's a medium. I always get my t-shirts a little big because I know that they shrink and also because I don't like my clothes super tight usually. Oh no, this is the one that I got for Lupita. So if you see this before the package gets to her, do not tell her, do not spoil it, what I got for her. So I got her the same shirt in a large, Arriba Las Mujeres. I don't know like what size she is, but I just figured it's safer to go bigger. Who doesn't love a baggy t-shirt, you know? Now we are on to package number 2. What is this? What is this? Oh yes! I forgot that I ordered a vintage dress from Tiff, and this is what it looks like. Wow, this is gorgeous. Okay, I'm definitely going to do a lookbook on my vintage fashion page with this dress. Wow, it's beautiful, and I think it's gonna fit perfectly. So excited to try this dress on, and it's a nice thick fabric. Oh my God. I will support this business all day, every day. Anything that she puts out, I will be sure to support, and I'll leave her information linked down below so that you can do the same. Okay, so let's open some book packages. This clip is getting so long, I'm sorry. So this first package is from Penguin Random House. Oh, and it's got little hearts. This must be from Valentine's Day. So it comes with these like little paper hearts, which I'm going to save and put in my book journal. And the book is by Rachel Winters, and it is called Would You Like to Meet? I don't know anything about this book. I did not request it, so let's see. It's Evie Summers' job to find out, can you fall in love like they do in the movies? Stop. Yo.
I'm dying.
Okay. They sent me a finished copy of Remembrance by Rita Woods. I read this at my library early on in the month for Blackathon, and this This fantasy book, speechless. I'm going to do a really in-depth review in my wrap-up of this book, and I know you're gonna see it on some of my best of 2020 lists, so I'm not gonna talk about it too much right now, but it's essentially a historical fantasy about these people that can travel, like, oh my God. It's so hard to explain because it's one of the most complex books that I've ever read. But essentially, it's like a Haitian, Black American inspired historical fantasy. These very, very powerful women who are just basically very sick of racism and racial subjugation and all of the violence and prejudice, and they create their own world. It definitely is like The Fifth Season meets Kindred by Octavia Butler. Order it. What more could you want? Okay, and the last thing I'm gonna open for now, I still have a whole windowsill of packages. Penguin Random House kindly sent me a copy of Real Life by Brandon Taylor, and if you are on Bookstagram, you will know that this book has been thriving. All I really know about it is that it is Black and queer, and it is a debut novel. People have been raving about the fantastic writing. All I really know is that it's about a young, Black, introverted, queer man who is from Alabama, and he kind of leaves his conservative town and ends up being very intertwined with a new group of friends, and he has to come into his own. The author of Heavy described this as having blew my head and heart off, and that's all I freaking need to know, and I really, really dig this cover. Yeah, so I think that I have gabbed for long enough. God, I love this so much, and the quality. Yo, Tiff can have all my money.
All my fucking money.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to reading, and I'll check in with you when I get further on in the books. A major character just came out as asexual, and thank you, God, for this book. Hey y'all, it is a new dawn, it is a new day, it's tomorrow, and I have finished Raybearer. I came very close to crying tears of joy and connectedness when I finished this book, which is an experience I haven't ever had. It's not quite that like I wanted to cry tears of joy, but I just was so moved by the way that the book wrapped up. I don't know how to explain it. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Like, there were a couple moments where characters who had waited a really long time to hear certain things, and those things got said, and it was just very emotional. There's going to be a sequel. I'm hoping it's a trilogy because I cannot get enough of this world. It's just so, I said this on Twitter, but it's just so opposite of tropey. It sets you up to think that it's going to be tropey, and then it just takes those tropes and breaks them down. This is definitely my new favorite romance also, and that says a lot because it beats the romance between Patroclus and Achilles in Song of Achilles, which is huge for me because they're my favorite couple of all time. Yeah, and I'm not gonna say anything more about that. It's just that I really, really am rooting for the romance in this book hard, which says a lot because I really don't care for romance in general. Seriously, 5 out of 5 stars. One of my favorite books that I've read for the BlackGirlMagic series, if not top 3 books that I've read for this series. Maybe I should do a video one day ranking all of the books that I've read for the BlackGirlMagic series. Let me know if you would be interested in that. And then I'm almost done with Children of Blood and Bone, and okay, y'all, this book get on my damn nerves. First of all, I'm glad Kaia is gone. That brought me nothing but joy. I can't stand her. She's super, super freaking annoying. And the way that she talks to Anon drives me nuts. Like, I get that she's his general, but he's her fucking prince. I feel a lot of times that her character took a lot of liberties that she shouldn't have taken, and I get it because, like, she's sleeping with the king and feels that she has a certain level of power, but I'm like, girl, you are still not royalty. Sit down before I chop your head off. And, like, we gotta talk about the blood magic scene. So Zaylee promised her brother that she would never use blood magic because it damn near killed their mom, and it took her mother, who's the most powerful Reaper ever, I think it was 2 weeks or a month in order to recover from using blood magic. And then they get in a bind and she uses blood magic for the first time as a novice reaper and then is just walking and talking and has little to no real repercussions for that. Get it? Repercussions. Do you get it? Oh my God. Oh, this is why I'm single. Okay. I don't know. I just didn't feel that was realistic. Then I got to the point where Zane gets captured and, you know, like a net gets thrown over him and he gets dragged off into the wilderness while Zaylee and Inan are sparring. And then, like, when her brother gets captured, she just sinks into the dirt and, like, watches him get dragged away. And I'm like, I don't know how long I lie in the dirt. 10 minutes, 10 days. A cold like I've never known settles into my bones. The chill of being alone. I don't understand. Who were those masked fighters? What were they after? They moved so fast, there's no way we could have avoided them. The chill of being alone. Girl, you wouldn't be alone if you pursued them and saved your brother. Like, what? Why are you just sitting in the dirt and crying about it?
Go rescue him.
And then she starts like recounting all the times that she's let her brother down. And I'm just like, then she says, if I waste any more time, my brother could end up dead. Meanwhile, she's still lying in the dirt while her brother was freshly kidnapped. I just don't get it. Like, I don't connect with her character, the decisions that she makes. She's irrational and impulsive, and I get that because, you know, she's a young girl and it's understandable. But I just don't connect with impulsive characters. Like, I find their decisions to be so short-sighted, and she keeps making the same mistakes, so it's difficult for me to root for her. Like, she keeps whining about how she endangers her brother's life and then continues to put him in danger. And this is the last straw with her character for me. Like, her brother gets kidnapped and then she just sits and cries, which isn't realistic because up until this point she's been such a warrior. She's accomplished great things. She's shown incredible courage and perseverance, and all of a sudden when the most important person in her life gets kidnapped, she loses all of that. I don't get it. It's ridiculous, and I'm already over the plot because the whole immortal stone thing is just absolutely ridiculous to me, for lack of a better word, because they've been looking for the stone and then all of a sudden it just so happens to be in the very spot that they happen to come across. And you mean to tell me that this stone that the king himself has been searching for years is just in the middle of a fighting pit where this guy is waving it around and nobles are gathering, so nobles know that the stone is in this area, which means if nobles know, because nobles are known for gossiping, the king would know, and the king would have been sent his men to go retrieve that stone. It's just, it feels very small. Like the plot getting on my nerves. Zaylee getting on my nerves. Is it over yet? And I still have book 2. Like, this better get better.
1 hour later.
I let go of her wrists, but inside, I let go of so much more. Help.
1 hour later.
I will say that I really appreciate all of the commentary that can be seen as commentary on police violence, because Inan, as somebody who grew up with a lot of privilege and has positive experiences with the guards, is really grappling to understand that not everybody has had such positive experience with the guards, and that the guards have beaten and sexually abused and subjugated people, murdered people outright. Because they could and because they knew that they could get away with it. And there's a line in here where Zaylee says, "I won't let your ignorance silence my pain." And I think that that is so fucking important.
1 hour later.
I take it back about Inan being my favorite character.
I don't care about him.
I think that actually Amari is my favorite character. I respect her growth and the battle that she faces within herself. And I really also respect, like, she loves her brother, but her brother has physically harmed her. And she's trying to deal with what it means to love someone who has caused you trauma. And that's something that I really relate to. That being said, Zaylee, I just can't stand her. I understand that they have a forbidden attraction and that, you know, being young and having a crush on somebody and how powerful and forceful and consuming that can feel. I do get that.
But
that their connection is causing so much of a rift between herself and her brother, and that's all that they have had to help them survive was each other. And there's no fucking crush on the face of this earth that would be worth more than the relationship with a sibling that I've suffered so deeply with. You know what I mean? Like, to risk the healthy relationship that Zaylee and Zane have just because she has a crush on the prince, we can't put this aside until later.
it's really that serious?
It's causing so much of a rift between her and her brother, and her relationship with her brother should mean a hell of a lot more than some fucking crush that she has on a palace boy. It's just not realistic. The crushes between all four of these characters, I just don't care about. I'm not invested in either of the romances, especially after reading Raybearer and seeing how slow and measured and well developed the romance was, and also how fucking meticulously it was developed. And I don't know. I just don't care about the romance. It's not established to me. It seems very attraction based versus like situation and development based. It just feels very juvenile. Is this book over yet?
1 hour later.
Okay, is it just me, or is there more chemistry between Zaylee and Amari than between Amari and Zane or Zaylee and Inan? Like, I'm reading this scene where Amari is helping Zaylee get ready for the celebration that they're throwing, and they're just giggling and bantering, and it's just, I mean, I know I'm always pushing the gay agenda, but like, why I would enjoy this book so much better if the two of them were a thing, especially because Zaylee rescued Amari. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a much better origin for a love story. Also, I feel like their personalities are so opposite, but they complement each other, and especially because Zaylee really started out loathing and hating Amari. Okay, I've got 100 pages left of the story, so I'm just gonna finish it and stop updating you with my complaints.
1 hour later.
I'm gonna start playing a drinking game where I take a shot every time Zane's name gets screamed. This is all on one page, mind you. Zane, no. Zane, please. All literally on one page. It reminds me of that compilation from the X-Men animated series, and it's just a series of Jean and Scott yelling each other's names throughout the episodes.
Jean! 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 Ah!
1 hour later.
Let me get this straight just to make sure I understand it. Instead of taking the 3 items onto their final destination so that they can perform the ritual to solidify the return of magic in the world, they're gonna stop
And throw a party.
This party can't wait 5 days. You have 5 days left to perform this ritual, and you're gonna stop to have a party. You're gonna gather a bunch of unarmed diviners and throw a little fiesta when the majority of the people there can't even fight and defend themselves. Yeah, I'm sure that's gonna end real well.
1 hour later.
It did not end well.
1 hour later.
Inan has just watched his father, the king, torture Zaylee, and he says, in that instant, it hits me. They don't mean a thing to him because they're magi. They're nothing. His Orisha doesn't include them. It never has. He doesn't just want to erase magic. He wants to erase them. This is just now hitting you?
1 hour later.
The girl I held in my sleep is nowhere to be seen. In her place, a monster rages. It bears fangs of death. He has some nerve calling her a monster when the reason that she's pissed off is because he just got her father murdered and he betrayed her. I cannot stand this boy. I take it back when I said that I thought he was cool. Why is he still alive? Inan's entire character is him being like, yeah, the magi and the diviners shouldn't be oppressed, and then getting mad when the magi fight back and use their magic to defend themselves. He keeps calling magi who stand up for themselves when they are literally being attacked monsters and monstrous and saying that and using that as a justification for why they should be oppressed. And I'm just like, but
They're literally defending themselves.
they're not out here just slaughtering people for no motherfucking reason. They are defending themselves against soldiers who are in the active process of burning down their homes and killing them. But the Magi are the monsters? I cannot.
1 hour later.
Where do I begin? I finished Children of Blood and Bone. And, okay, so I finished Children of Blood and Bone. And even though Inan drives me nuts, I do like that his character really struggles with, seeing the Magi as just in their fight for justice. Seeing Magi use violence in an attempt to liberate themselves as valid. I like that he is struggling with this because it kind of shows that like the road to unlearning prejudiced behavior isn't linear, right? Like a lot of times we have setbacks when we're in the middle of trying to unlearn things that are harmful. Just because somebody becomes aware that they're racist doesn't mean from that point on they're never going to be racist again, right? And it goes for any kind of type of oppression that you're trying to unlearn. So I think it's realistic that his character has these setbacks and ends up kind of like going back to his father. But that being said,
I still don't like him, and I hope he dies in the next book.
so I think what I'm gonna do now is make dinner, and I've already poured myself a glass of wine in anticipation for Children of Virtue and Vengeance, and I'm just gonna drink my way through it. Yeah, because I've heard the sequel is not great. But I am going to be giving this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars, which really surprises me because I was expecting to like it a lot less. Okay, maybe like a 3-star. But yeah, there were a lot of things that I liked about it. I loved the various themes that were laced throughout the novel. I loved the different clans. I'm excited to see the magic develop more and to see other people's abilities kind of awaken and see how they use them. All right, I'm gonna put this aside and it's time for the sequel. Okay, so I love finding flaws in my book, and on page 81 of Children of Virtue and Vengeance, look what I found. The ink is just worn off. Do you see? That's kind of cool. I dig it. It just personalizes the book, Hey y'all, so it is the next day and I am already halfway through the sequel to Children of Blood and Bone, and it's wild because this book is just, I'm really enjoying the ride. I have no idea where the story is going. Nothing has like offended and irritated me so far. I'm enjoying this a lot more than I enjoyed the first one, and I think a big part of that is because like the world is already established. I know these characters and now I'm just kind of like getting to see their development and what they do. So thus far I'm definitely enjoying the sequel. I have no doubts that I'm going to finish it today. It only took me a couple hours of reading to get to halfway through the book, maybe 3. I'm just honestly flying through it and I'm really enjoying it. As far as today goes, I really want to go to hot yoga and I want to hit up the gym afterwards as well. And I figured for now I would just do some unboxings for you because I still have so many things that I need to unbox. Oh, one thing that I will say about Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I lied, there is something that I want to complain about. Y'all know, okay, I can't do an update without finding something to bitch about. And the thing I'm going to be bitching about is General Jokoye and Queen Nahanda. Okay, so Inan is king, which means that y'all should not be second guessing and overruling him, especially in front of his soldiers and his subjects. And it just drives me fucking nuts how the general and the ex-queen will outright say no or be defiant of Inan. Mind you, like, I don't like Inan at all, but it's just like, he's still your king. Why are you undermining him in this way? That's so dangerous for the empire. And I'm just like, yo, I would have been thrown. I don't care if you're my mother. I will throw you in prison for treason. Like, don't play with me.
Move aside, mother. Your time has passed.
My mother is probably watching this already, ready to beat my ass. Okay, so the first package that I have here is by Macmillan Publishers. Okay, it's definitely a hardcover. Oh my fucking, yo, okay, so yes, okay, I remember when a representative from Macmillan reached out to me and asked if I was interested in this book, and that was a while ago, and I'm so glad that they sent it. This is Frieda in America, the creative awakening of a great artist, and it is a biography of the amazing Frida Kahlo's life. I cannot wait. I have so much imagery of Frida throughout my home. I have this jewelry box container of her that I use frequently. She is a Mexican icon, and y'all know that I am Mexican, and she just means a whole lot to me. So I'm really, really excited to read this book and to learn more about her. The next thing I have here is a package from Amazon. I have no idea what's inside this, but I think it's a book. Holy shit! Holy shit! What? What? Who sent this? Oh my god. Okay, so this is from subscriber Catherine. Thank you so much, Catherine, for sending this. This is wild because literally yesterday I was just talking to somebody about how badly I wanted to read this book, and this is the 25th anniversary edition. I'm so excited. It's basically a black vampire lesbian classic that I've been dying to read. I'm so freaking excited. Thank you so much, Catherine, for sending this to me. So freaking excited. So this is the Guild of Stories, and it's by Jewel Gomez. I'm ready for this classic vampiric queer fiction.
Give it to me.
That is so exciting. This package is a book sleeve that I ordered from a small black-owned book sleeve business over on Etsy. It's founded by one of my Bookstagram friends, and I'm really, really excited to have ordered a sleeve from her. It comes with this card on the back. I'm gonna read the card first. Oops, I already ripped the paper. I love cards so much. If you send me a card, I will keep it until I die. This is the face of the card, and it says, Jessie, thank you for your order. I hope that you enjoy it and get lots of use from it. Monica. Thank you so much for sending this, Monica. The second I saw this sleeve on her page, I knew I absolutely had to have it. I will leave it linked down below. I'm so excited. Yes. Oh. It's even more beautiful in person. I mean, look, just look. Any kind of calavera imagery is just, yes, like, ugh. It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. Thank you so much for sending this to me. I hope y'all aren't packaged out because I really want to open another one if that's okay. Let's go with this one. This is also an Amazon package. I don't know what it is. Okay, so I'm not gonna look at the book yet. Oh, this is the spoiler card, okay. So I'm gonna look at, so there's two things in here. This is the first thing. I love green so much. Like dark, rich emerald green is just, it's a color for my heart. Yes, I'm so excited. What? Okay, so from the second I first laid eyes on this book at my local indie bookstore, I wanted it so bad, and I was thinking about making it a pick for the NB Book Club, but I just haven't gotten around to purchasing it. And this is Love Beyond Body, Space, and Time. It's an Indigenous LGBTQ science fiction anthology. And just look at the cover. Yo! Oh my fucking god. It focuses on queer and two-spirit characters. These stories range from a transgender woman trying an experimental transition medication to young lovers separated through decades and meeting far in their own future. So no spoilers as promised for Children of Virtue and Vengeance, but I'm halfway through the book, and Zaylee and Amari are definitely at odds with each other. And for those of you who have read this book, I just want to make it perfectly clear who I agree with and whose team I'm on. Amari, all the way. And look, it's not just because I have prejudice against her character, okay? It's not just because I already hate her from book one. I just genuinely, objectively think that she's not a great leader, that she's not excellent at making wise decisions. Anytime I'm reading a fantasy or watching a movie and there's a character who is kind of bulldozing over other characters whose presences are very much valued and needed, you know that an insurrection is gonna happen, or someone's gonna get sick of being mistreated and backstab the other person. Like, you know it's coming. And so I don't know if that's what's gonna happen here, but I do know that Amari's fuse is like, this close to blowing. So I just hope that it blows up and takes Zaylee with it when it goes. Also, I'm kind of over the writing. I was enjoying the fact that it was short and kind of fast-paced, and now it just feels really melodramatic. It's trying very hard to be deep. Did anybody else feel this way while reading these books? Please let me know if I'm the only one. As I keep reading, I'm going to try and like find an example and read it to you. I'm kind of over the mystery at this point and where the story's going. I'm just so, I don't know, I'm trying to feel invested. I'm trying to feel like these characters are real, and I just don't.
1 hour later.
The pain I've been so afraid to feel is how I know I'm still alive. It's how I know there's still something inside me that can fight. I feel like the short sentences technique, like the short sentences are supposed to make those sentences hit home and kind of drive the severity of their points to base, and it's just funny to me, like, I can't take this book seriously. Denial is all that I have, all that I am. That's some emo shit. That's like 2004 emo. That is Avril Lavigne wearing a necktie with no collar emo. That is cotton wristbands paired with bright blue eyeshadow emo. That is Hawthorne Heights emo. I think my neighbors are moving furniture upstairs. It sounds like a fucking Wookiee. All right, ignore the ceiling farts, let's continue. I have like 20 pages left of this book. It feels like my torture is never ending.
1 hour later.
Okay, I do want to update you. There is a line that I very much enjoyed. We are the children of the gods. I lift my chin. If someone's running away, it's not going to be us. That's pretty badass. Okay, I lied. I take everything back that I said about the characters. There is one character that I give a shit about. There is one character who is my heart and soul that I'm actually rooting for. The only person that I care about what's happening with in this book, and that's Rowan. Rowan is fucking amazing. And I actually do ship him with Zaylee. That is a romance I can get behind. Like, there's development there. It was based off of more than just immediate attraction. Their protectiveness and like the hurdles that they've had to overcome together, and their scenes feel natural. They feel like they have chemistry, and Rowan is just so fucking cool at scene when one of his crew members stands up to him and he's just like super chill, and you know that he's about to
fuck some shit up.
And then lo and behold, he fucks some shit up. Just, it's my heart and soul. And for those of you who do have this book, there is a page.
Well, of course there's a page. It's a fucking book, Jesse.
On page 371, at the very, very end of that chapter, he ends the chapter by saying something to Zaylee, and that whole scene is my entire heart, like, ripped me out of my chest. It was the first scene, I think, in the entire book that I felt connected to, and I felt that I believed in and like could stand behind. That scene got me. So if you have this book, page 371, you know the scene I'm talking about. It just, I would cry, but I don't want to fuck up my makeup. And of course, we are back to the melodramatic lines. Part of the issue that I have with these short, trying too hard to be hard-hitting lines is that every single character has them. So if it was like just Zaylee's character making these statements, it would be okay, because then it would kind of be a part of her characterization, you know, the psychology of her character, the establishment of her character. But all of the characters partake in this kind of dramatic one-line sentences that are supposed to be really woke and deep, and I'm just, it's... Instead of being emotionally deep, they're merely
deeply annoying.
I finished the book. I did like Virtue and Vengeance more than Children of Blood and Bone. I'm giving Children of Blood and Bone a 3-star and this one a 3.5-star. I know you're probably surprised by that rating because it is a relatively high rating in my opinion, but there is a lot about these books that I like. It's just, I think that the strength of the book is undermined by a couple things. First, the writing. The writing just isn't for me. Second, there's a lot of, like, world building is so important to me. I need to believe in the fantasy world that you're creating. this world just like isn't it for me. And the thing especially that bugs me about the world building is there were several times where rules were set down, limits for the magic system, and then so many points in time throughout both of these books, the rules get undermined and thrown out the window when it's convenient, and it just feels, I don't know, it just feels like a half-baked fantasy to me. I know that this is gonna disappoint a lot of people, but you know that like I only ever give my personal honest opinion on this channel. I wish that I had enjoyed those books more, genuinely, because Tahira loves those books and I love her and I wanted to love them as much as she does. But if you have any kind of like counterpoints, you disagree, agree, please let me know down below. These are books that I really, really want to converse with y'all about. So definitely let me know down below what you think of my opinions on the Oshóva trilogy, the 2 books that are out so far. Please pre-order Raybearer. That book is fucking amazing. So good. That being said, I do think that Children of Virtue and Vengeance, Children of Blood and Bone are really good books in terms of representation for Black girls. There's a lot of good in these books, so it's not that I wouldn't recommend them. I just wouldn't recommend them if you're a really critical reader, I guess. That is it for this video. If you liked this video, which I'm sure most of you did not, give this video a big thumbs up or a big thumbs down. Subscribe to me on my channel if you want me to disappoint you more like this in the future. All of my social media links are going to be in the description box below, as well as any other links and information that I told you I would put down there for the purposes of this video. Thank you so much for watching another Bow Ties and Books production, and I can't wait to see you in my next video.